And it's a great privilege for me to simply take a moment to talk about the way forward in this campaign. CLI, Commissioning a Lifestyle of Integrity, is committed to equipping people to live and lead with integrity. We recognize that if we're going to do that, there needs to be more than CLI as a player doing the work. And so today I want to just make some comments about why we now have a Kenyan integrity campaign, and that this is a national coalition of people coming together. Actually, today is the first time Kenyans have participated in the International Global Integrity Day, or GID. And GID was established as a positive reminder of the importance of ethical conduct and accountability. And the idea originated from a collective desire to address systematic issues of corruption which undermine social trust. On June 9, we annually come together to reflect, to teach, to collaborate, to find ways to integrate integrity into every area of life. And today, people in many nations are doing exactly what we are doing. They are talking about how do we cultivate a lifestyle of integrity? How do we address the causes and consequences of corruption? And how can we come together, collaborate in unity, and produce a more just and equitable society? So we gather here today in solidarity with citizens of other nations, and we pledge to do our part to overcome corruption. And I pray in the days ahead that Kenya will earn a great reputation of having moved towards and demonstrating integrity and shifting away from corruption. What the National Integrity Campaign believes is that the impact of corruption can be changed. We have a dream that one day when there will be less incidents of fraud and bribery and dishonesty and theft and sexual exploitation and employee disengagement and cheating and underground economies and many other things that corruption produces. Integrity will no longer just get the crumbs left over by corruption. The campaign will help restore healthy practices and influence decisions. The Kenyan Integrity Campaign partners chose GID, June 9th, to announce that we are about to start a nationwide campaign. And between now and June 9, 2030, we aim to influence everyone in every place towards living a lifestyle of integrity. And to that end, we will equip individuals and organizations in all regions of Kenya to uphold ethical principles and embrace integrity. Allow me to just share a journey with you for one moment and the way forward. Our story, in some ways, parallels that of a man called Nehemiah. His work was rebuilding broken walls of an ancient city, Jerusalem. And it speaks to us of our task of building the foundations of integrity in a culture that is broken trust and fake truth. Ancient walls provided strength and security and identity for a city. The walls gave protection. They shielded the inhabitants from external threats and while defining the boundaries of the community. Without walls, the people lived with uncertainty and hopelessness, and without a foundation of integrity, people live in an atmosphere rife with frustration and fear. Now, the story of Nehemiah begins when he became aware of the conditions in his city. The walls were broken down, the people exposed to threats, they were vulnerable to their enemies. Chapter 1, he asks the question, how is it going? And he hears an answer in verse 3 that says, those who survive the exile are back in the province, but they're in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. The impact of that statement caused him to weep and to say, I must do something. God has promised that this is not the way it must be. And he would do all that he could to make a difference. Rapidly, the story moves, and Nehemiah is at Jerusalem. He's looking at the situation, examining the walls, listening to the people, going past the gates, and seeing what has been destroyed. And then in chapter 2, verse 17, he said to them, we see the trouble we are in Jerusalem. It lies in ruins, and the gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. And I also told them of the gracious hand of my God on me and what the king had said to me. And they replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began the good work. The National Integrity Committee has grieved what we see as the impact of corruption in Kenya. The nation has become vulnerable and fearful, like an ancient city without walls. And the daily impact of corruption is inescapable. Yesterday, I had a key business leader tell me that in all his years in Kenya, he's never seen it like this. He said, and it's getting worse. And the thought of life continuing this way has become unacceptable. With God's help, we must attempt to make a difference. To do nothing would be problematic, but to do something is what is necessary. And so the work of the campaign is to create a movement that would be focused on constructing integrity. The psalmist said, if the foundations are destroyed, what will the righteous do? Doing something is our only option. And under the banner of a national campaign, ministries and organizations are beginning to join together in a coalition. We've begun to formulate strategic plans and to talk about how do we equip people in Kenya to live and to lead with integrity. And today, on Global Integrity Day, the public phase begins. The Kenyan Integrity Campaign announces that we are going to collaborate together for the next 5 years to produce a cultural shift towards a more ethical society. In Jerusalem, people who earlier had given up would rally when Nehemiah called. In chapter 3, it records the names of families and clans and trade unions who all took their place. Each person, each family contributed to the whole. And the account of the construction takes an entire chapter, but every effort mattered to the outcome. Slowly, stone by stone by stone, section by section by section, a wall emerged out of the rubble. And ahead of us is a daunting task. But just like Nehemiah, who gathered the people to rebuild the walls, the partners of the Integrity Campaign, many of whom you see on these banners, are coming together and are fully engaged in building a more ethical and just society. Many of the Integrity partners have already expended so much time and energy and treasure towards the challenge of corruption. And they have done things that have already benefited. But the result of our coming together will exponentially increase the impact. Our unity will cause there to be a result that is much greater and significant in the days ahead. I am so grateful that some have already been so generous in sharing resource materials, what they have learned, and we want to celebrate the efforts that have been made. We must not stand alone. And so the Integrity Campaign moves towards an impact that comes when we join together. But we are not at all fooled by the thought that we can build integrity in a day. If you would pause and think of, maybe you've seen pictures of majestic European cathedrals built back in the 1600s. Those impressive structures took decades to complete. And the cathedral architects and builders had a grand vision, and they labored relentlessly year after year, and even some died before the buildings were ever completed. But they understood that for a great project to be done, it would take time and they must persist. And constructing integrity in Kenya is not a short journey, but we are continuously committed to the 5-year and beyond program that will bring to the citizens of this great nation integrity. And so the campaign has begun to look at every sector of society, from children to young adults to Gen X to Gen Z to seniors. And we have begun to see how can we equip everyone in every place for integrity. In terms of equipping children, we are looking at school curriculums and club curriculums, and a television program is being produced even now towards teaching children and parents how to live and lead with integrity. Sunday school curriculums are being developed because we believe with children, as the twig is bent, so the tree grows. And there is a strategy to equip young adults and adults. And to do this, we will have printed materials and media resources and accountabilities and support for those who are in challenge. And we will have professional development days, and there will be roundtable discussions among executives. And there will be prayer, and there will be church sermons, and there will be times of common emphasis, and there will be many, many things that will come together during these days so that integrity will be a growing influence in the nation. What feels small today is, by the grace of God and prayer and our effort, going to become great. Our vision is that we can bring about change. One person, one group, one enterprise, one sector, one city, one province, one nation. It can all happen. One of the essential tools in the work is found in the book Integrity, the Best Foundation, which simply reminds us we all must use our influence for the good of everyone. We all must earn the trust of others. We all must pursue our purpose with dignity. We all must give honor to others. We all must live truthfully in both word and in actions. And we must choose to avoid compromise and live with authenticity and accountability. If we will do these 6 things, and if we will begin to join together at personal and professional levels, our society can change. There can be spiritual commitments and financial practices that will be transformed. Let us together today believe that as we come together, starting on Global Integrity Day 2025 and working together diligently to 2030, Global Integrity Day, that in those 5 years, something that is remarkable that will cause other nations who are part of GID to talk about can take place in Kenya. Kenya, let's lead the way. Let's join our lives together and our resources together and see what God can do through a people who will say, I must respond. And by His grace, working together in corruption can be displaced with integrity, and this nation can know the blessing it deserves. Thank you.